feel like meditating, and you want to meditate by the beach or in the woods, but you're not able to go there now. So now, virtual reality comes in handy. With the development of technology, we can use virtual reality to treat mental illnesses. You might wonder, how? Well, it's quite simple. I'm going to tell you everything about it. Virtual reality, VR, is a simulated experience that can be similar to the real world, and we can use it in entertainment, education, and business. You might think that VR cannot replicate a real experience, but once you try it, you'll know this as a fact that your brain fully processes it as real. Virtual reality therapy is like a high-tech adventure for your mind. It uses super realistic computer-generated worlds to help with things like stress or anxiety. Your brain can't even tell the difference between what's real and what's in the virtual world. It's so cool that it can even affect your body, like changing stress levels. And also, with special gloves, it's like you can touch and feel things, and it's awesome. But have you ever wondered how it works? Let's find out. So, when you dive into virtual reality, VR, it's all about making you feel like you're really in a different world. Picture this. VR headsets have two screens, one for each eye, and they show slightly different things to mimic how our eyes work in the real world. Your brain then takes both these views and makes a 3D image in your mind. But here's where it gets cooler. It's not just about visuals. It brings in more sensations. You not only see things, but also hear them through your ears. And sometimes, you can even feel stuff through special gloves and sensors. So it's like a full-body experience. The fun part is how you can interact with this virtual world. You can change what you see by moving your head, making gestures, or just by looking around. The more you can do, the more you feel like you're really there. The whole magic of feeling immersed in VR depends on how good and how many of these interactions you get. It's like stepping into another dimension, where you're not just a spectator, but you're in control. And why does it feel so real? You might be asking, because for the brain, it is real. VR is like a brain wizard. When you use it, certain parts of your brain light up, just like when you're doing stuff in real life. This makes the VR experience feel super real, like you're actually there. It's like a mind trick that makes your brain think, yep, this is happening right now. Super fascinating, right? So now you might be thinking, what kind of mental illnesses can we heal with VR? Phobias. Alright, so imagine virtual reality, VR, as this awesome tool that helps people tackle their fears in a really smart way. If someone's dealing with a fear, like being super scared of spiders, arachnophobia, VR comes in like a superhero sidekick. So, instead of facing real spiders right away, that is gross and might be too much, VR lets you step into this world. It's like going into a video game where everything looks real, but it's not. Therapists use it to guide you through different situations with spiders, starting from less scary moments and gradually turning up the challenge. It's like a virtual adventure with a coach by your side. You're not dealing with real spiders, but the virtual ones help you get used to the idea slowly. It's like taking small steps to become friends with what you're scared of, all in a safe and super cool virtual space. So if you're scared of something, you can go into this world, and it's like having a friendly helper to be with you. This helper makes sure everything is safe, and it's kind of like having a practice adventure where you can go at your own speed and get better. So far, VR has successfully treated phobias such as plus arachnophobia, fear of spiders, mas aviophobia, fear of flying, agoraphobia, fear of open spaces, claustrophobia, fear of confined spaces, and glossophobia, fear of public speaking, post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. So, virtual reality exposure therapy, VRET, comes in handy for people dealing with tough memories, like those with PTSD. Here's how it works. Imagine you've been through something really hard, and you need some help to deal with it. Well, you can use VRET. First, they talk to you and figure out exactly what you need to get help with based on what happened and how it's affecting you. Then, here comes the magic part. They create a virtual world that's just for you, made especially for you. A kind of a personalized video game. They can make it feel like the time of day you want, with specific sounds, and even include stuff like equipment or scenery that's familiar or comforting to you. It's like crafting your own virtual safe space. Now, you know what's great? Studies show that especially for veterans or those who've been through war, just 6 sessions of hanging out in this virtual world for an hour each time can seriously dial down anxiety by a whopping 90%. It's like a virtual journey that helps you deal with tough stuff and feel better. This VR therapy is turning heads in the therapy world because it's showing really good results. It's like a high-tech friend lending a hand when memories get too tough. Stress and anxiety. Imagine you're dealing with something really tough that makes you stressed, like a scary memory or a situation that makes you super anxious, and then you put on some cool goggles, and suddenly you're in a safe space where you can face those tough things with a guide, kind of like a virtual mentor. Therapists use this to help you slowly get used to the tough stuff step by step. It's like practicing before the real deal. So you're not just talking about your fears in usual therapy sessions, but you're actually experiencing them in this virtual space. This makes it easier for your brain to handle those tough memories or situations and process them. The cool part is, the skills you learn in this virtual world stick with you in your everyday life. It's like having a secret weapon to deal with stress and anxiety, one step at a time. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're someone who gets really nervous about speaking in public, like giving a presentation in class. Now think about stepping into a virtual world that feels just like the real thing. In this virtual space, you can practice speaking in front of a virtual audience. As you do this, you have the power to recognize any negative thoughts that come up, like worrying about what people think or fearing you'll mess up. The best part is that you can learn to change those negative thoughts. It's like turning those anxious what-if moments into positive and calm ones. So the next time you have to speak in public, you've already practiced handling those nervous thoughts, making the real-life situation much less stressful. It's like training your brain to be more comfortable with public speaking. Cool, right? Depression. So let's talk about how virtual reality, VR, can be like a superhero and help you to make all of your sadnesses and breaks go away. So, when someone is feeling down and dealing with things like not wanting to eat or sleep troubles, VR can be a bit like magic goggles. You put them on, and suddenly you're in a whole new world, kind of like a cool video game, but for your mind. In this virtual world, it's like taking a break from all the tough stuff in real life. Imagine it as a refreshing vacation for your brain, where you can forget about the not-so-great feelings for a bit. It's like giving your mind a change of scenery to focus on more positive things. Now let's talk about kicking bad habits, like when stress and sadness team up with addiction. VR therapy becomes a superhero mentor, teaching you tricks to stay calm and strong when those tricky habits try to sneak back in. In special recovery places, they're trying out VR as a sidekick for patients. It's like creating a virtual world that understands what each person needs, and it helps them learn cool tricks to handle stress without turning to those not-so-great habits. So, VR is like a magical adventure for your mind when you're feeling down, and it's a helpful sidekick in breaking free from tricky habits. Psychosis. Some recent studies suggest that virtual reality, VR, can be really helpful in treating different types of psychosis, which are mental health conditions. In a study from 2020, they looked into this and found some cool facts. So VR therapy is so helpful. It won't solve all mental health stuff, but it has some perks, and here are a few. 1. Control your environment. You get to control what you see, so it's not overwhelming. 2. Personalized settings. The VR scenes can include things from your real life, like sounds or smells. 3. Flexible and repeatable. You can do the therapy over and over, and it's adjusted to what you need each time. There is no limit. 4. Gradual exposure. Let's say you're scared of something like height. VR can help you get used to it slowly. 5. Review sessions. You can watch or redo the sessions, which helps track how well it's working. 6. Helps with visualization. If you're not great at picturing things in your head, VR makes it easier to feel how you normally would in certain situations. So, thanks for watching this video. We really appreciate your time. And if you found it helpful and enjoyed it, don't forget to like, subscribe, add comments, and also check out our upcoming video, Watch How This Professor Stays 30 Years Younger by Avoiding 5 Foods. Feat. David Sinclair.